Hello, hello, hello. I am so proud of you for sticking with me. And now we are going to discuss something which is super, super, super critical. In fact, we discussed already something that we all have a Yetzer Hara. We all have a challenge. Now, we all have, every soul, every body in a way, is made up of four desires, which correspond to Eish, Mayim, Ruach, Afer. Everything in the world is actually a composite of these four things. Eish is fire or heat. Everything has a temperature. Then it is made up of Mayim, water. In fact, most of the things in this world are actually made up of water. That's the main ingredient in this world. Then you have Afer, which is dirt. And then you have Ruach, which is wind. And these four things, Eish, Mayim, Ruach, Afer, are the four things that make up actual everything that exists. In fact, this goes according to the kinetic theory of energy, which is everything will change from a solid to a liquid, to Ruach is air, based on the temperature that it has. So this is an all-encompassing principle. But the point is that each one of our kind of what we call animal soul, the body, has a specific predilection. It has an addiction to one of these four temperaments. The Eish personality, the fire personality, has a big ego. Those are the guys that are going to become the CEOs. Those are the people that are kind of pretty aggressive. They can have a big temper. Now, that doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means they have a lot of energy. They have a lot of ego. If they use that for the good things, those are also the guys, the people that give the most charity are the most wealthy people. The billionaires of our world, I'm super proud of them because they are donating the majority of their money to charity. Take a guy like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, from the richest people. They not only have pledged their money, but Bill Gates gives, that's what he does all the time. He gives his and Warren Buffett and some other people's money to charity. They think about the best ways to spend their money. That is amazing. So the point is that it is super, super wonderful to be wealthy and use your money for good things and to be aggressive for good things. But that's still a challenge because you also have to be sensitive. So somebody that has that personality, anyway, I'll speak about how to overcome it soon. The next personality type is water. Water is the opposite of fire. They don't have a big ego, but they have a lot of desire for pleasure. A lot of us fall into that category. A lot of people say, I'm an addict personality. And to be honest, I don't have that problem. 1% of the population is addicted to gambling. I don't like gambling. To me, gambling is stupid. Why should I waste my money? But some people, they love it. They love that high of winning. They're addicted to pleasure. Other people have another challenge, and that is air. I have no, not the air. Air is a different challenge. Air people, they're like Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld, he said him and I forgot that other comedian that's pretty funny, Jay Leno, they're friends, and so they're talking like, who needs to go on a vacation to France? I mean, obviously these people have a lot of money, they can do it. You can just hang out and tell jokes. That's their life. Their life is telling jokes. So again, it's not a very meaningful life. It's funny, but it's not a very meaningful life. And last but not least is you have the kind of what do you call it? You call it Earth personality. Now, the Earth personality, their addiction is laziness. It took me a long time to overcome my laziness. It's really a serious addiction. You're really lazy. Like, you really don't like doing things. Now, those are four things. In fact, the Earth personality also has a tendency towards sadness and depression. It has kind of a heaviness to it. So you see how each one of these things are similar. Fire is like very aggressive, and water is kind of, it's pleasurable, and air is kind of just very loose. And I say that most of the things that we do in entertainment, it's air, it doesn't really have value. And earth, it's like stuck, it's very heavy. So each one of us has a major challenge. One of these traits are our greatest challenge in life. And if you overcome this one trait, all your other problems will fall like a house of cards. Now, of course, using myself as an example, of course I have an ego, of course I like jokes, and of course I like pleasure. But those are not very, very challenging things for me. It's not hard for me to be wrong. It's not hard for me to give up a pleasure. It's not hard for me not to waste my time on comedy and entertainment. But to work is super hard for me. People that have this tendency, getting up in the morning is really hard for them. And that's a real challenge. Just like one person has like overcoming an addiction challenge, overcoming laziness is a challenge. For the arrogant person to be humble, these are real challenges. So I'm going to discuss how we overcome the challenges. The first thing is we have to learn from the Rambam, one of the greatest Jewish masters, who said, when you have a challenge, you have to overcome it. Basically, the best way in life is the middle path, not too much the one side or the other side, in the middle. So for example, with money, you shouldn't be too cheap, but you shouldn't be too much of a spendthrift, right? So the same thing is in life. Let's start with fire. In order to overcome something, so the guy is too much over here, you have to move yourself to over here for a while, and then you can center yourself. So you have to become humble. And the way you become humble is you're such an idiot. What are you arrogant about? Every single thing that you have is because God decides. If he wants to, you're going to turn into dust. Literally, you're going to be eaten by worms. Are you still proud? So there's an exercise, which is you can also basically shame yourself. Think about all the bad things you did. So now you move yourself to humble. Now, of course, you don't want to feel shame, but just make sure you're out of the arrogance and you're more over here. Basically, when you have an addiction, basically be more towards the side of the opposite. Not totally the opposite, but more towards the side of the opposite. The next thing is the person that's addicted. These people, they love pleasure. So you need to go cold turkey. Now, everybody has the power. You got to say, I don't know, let's say you're addicted to drugs. You need to say, I will never, ever, ever take another thing of drugs. And you actually do have the power if you want to. People just don't want to. You can do every trick in the book, but make sure you never take drugs. Stay away from it. Think about how terrible. See every single video on how it makes people miserable. If you're addicted to cigarettes, if you're addicted to food, whatever your addiction is, if you have a sexual addiction, see everything that's evil about it and get yourself off it. Then you can bring yourself back. Obviously, certain things are always bad. There's no reason to ever take drugs. Drugs basically is trying to make a sad person happy. With the information that I'm giving you, you should be able to make yourself happy all the time through positive thinking, through doing good, etc. But be that as it may, get yourself away from that stimulant. And then maybe get yourself away from the people that are connected to the stimulant. And then you can go back, let's say with food addiction, you can go like just kind of go a little bit cold turkey, and then you can get yourself back to a more normal phase. Now, when it comes to people like comedy, telling jokes can be a good thing to cheer people up, but it's definitely not a way of life. So you need to go serious. Say, what is my mission? Why did God make me? And become super focused on that mission. And then you can get more to the center. And finally, for people like myself that have the laziness gene, you have to get super active. You have to be exercising. You have to just kind of really work hard on action. Do things. If you're depressed, you got to work on becoming happy. And it's a work. You got to work hard. We told you how to be grateful in the morning. These things will work. But the thing is, you got to do it. And once you do it, and you don't want to become too kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but you don't want to become obsessive about it. But then you can balance yourself out. And I've seen that in my own life. Thank God I did get into a little bit of an obsessive state of action. And now I'm much more balanced. I do the things that I want to do, that I think I should do, and I do them in a balanced, calm way.